You ever walk into a place and instantly realize you're the main character in a horror movie? Yeah, that was me. Middle of nowhere, some backwater town in Alabama that probably hadn't seen a black guy since the 80s. I was just passing through on my bike, stomach growling like some kind of rabid dog, so I stopped at the first place that looked like it wouldn't give me food poisoning. Big mistake. The bar was called Snake's Den. I should have known from the name that nothing good was about to happen. The second I stepped inside, the whole place went silent. I'm talking movie-level silence, like when the villain walks in and the music cuts out. Except here I wasn't the villain. I was the guy about to get sacrificed to whatever inbred swamp cult ran this town. Everyone turned to look at me, and by everyone, I mean a bunch of greasy dudes in leather jackets, all looking like they smelled like motor oil and bad decisions. These weren't just bikers, they were the bikers, the kind that made people cross the street. And the logo on their jackets? A coiled snake wrapped around a Confederate flag. Yeah, real welcoming. I could practically hear their thoughts. What's this dude doing here? Is he lost? Should we call the sheriff? Or just handle it ourselves? Now, I'm not stupid. I knew exactly what kind of place I had just walked into. But here's the thing. I don't do the whole scared and submissive routine. So instead of turning around, I strutted my 6'3", 220-pound self right to the bar like I owned the place. The bartender was an old, grumpy-looking dude who probably hadn't been happy since Nixon was president. He gave me a look like I just walked in naked, sat down, and ordered a vegan soy latte. "Can I help you?" he grumbled. "Yeah," I said, grinning. Burger, fries, and a beer." The dude didn't move. He just stared at me, like he was waiting for me to realize I wasn't supposed to be here and quietly remove myself. But when I didn't, he finally sighed and grabbed a glass. Behind me, I could hear murmurs. Low, angry whispers, some snickers. A chair scraped against the wooden floor as someone stood up, and then, "Hey, boy." Oh, here we go. I turned slowly, taking in the sight of the dude who just called me boy, like we were in some pre-civil rights era time loop. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with red hair and a scar running down his cheek like he just got back from a failed knife fight. The kind of guy who probably thought he was the main character in a Clint Eastwood movie. His buddies, about 6 of them, were grinning like they had just found a fun new toy. "You lost?" Scarface asked, tilting his head. I smiled. "Nah, man, I'm exactly where I need to be." His grin faded. "That's so?" "Yeah, but it looks like you're about to have a stroke trying to figure out why I'm not scared right now." His friends let out some ohs like this was a schoolyard roast session. Scarface didn't laugh. He just stepped closer, towering over me like that was supposed to mean something. "Listen, pal," he said, voice low and very serious. "This bar? It ain't for people like you." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh? You mean tall, handsome, and educated?" More ohs. A couple of the guys chuckled. Even the bartender smirked. Scarface? Not amused. His jaw clenched. "You think you're funny?" I shrugged. "I mean, I try, but let's be real. This whole angry racist biker thing, it's kind of overdone. You guys are like a bad Netflix reboot." Now they weren't laughing. One of the guys, a burly dude with a chain around his neck like some off-brand Mr. T, stood up. "Yo, let's just throw this guy out." I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Man, can we not? I just wanted a burger. Y'all are making this weird." Scarface grabbed my beer and poured it out right onto the bar. The whole room went dead silent. His buddies watched me, waiting. See, this was the test. They wanted me to get mad. They wanted me to snap, to throw a punch, so they'd have an excuse to jump me and leave me bleeding in the parking lot. But I don't play checkers, I play chess. So instead of reacting, I just nodded. "Cool, guess that means you're paying for the next one, right?" Scarface blinked. He hadn't expected that. His buddies looked at each other like, "What? You got a death wish, man?" Chain Neck growled. "Nah," I said, "but you might." Then my phone buzzed. I pulled it out, ignoring their death glares. On the screen? A name. One that these guys would definitely recognize. I smiled, and then I pressed call. Scarface crossed his arms. "What, you calling your mommy?" I lifted the phone to my ear. "Yo." The voice on the other end was calm, controlled, dangerous. "Where are you?" I locked eyes with Scarface and his crew. Then I grinned. "Some dive bar called Snake's Den," I said to. "And I think I just made some new friends." The line was quiet for a second. Then, "I'll be there in 5. I hung up and slid my phone back into my pocket. Then I looked at Scarface. "Hey," I said, "you guys got 5 minutes to decide whether you want to keep breathing today. His smirk faltered. His buddies shifted uncomfortably. Even the bartender was watching now. I leaned back against the bar, relaxed as hell. This was about to get real interesting. Let me tell you something about people like Scarface and his squad of Walmart gangsters. They only act tough when they think they have the upper hand. It's like watching a group of Chihuahuas bark at a Rottweiler, loud, aggressive, but deep down, scared out of their minds. And trust me, these guys were about to realize they were the Chihuahuas in this situation. Scarface squinted at me, trying to figure out whether I was bluffing. His goons weren't as sharp. They were already cracking their knuckles like some low-budget movie henchmen ready to turn this bar into a WWE SmackDown episode. "You trying to scare us, boy?" Scarface asked, voice low, trying to sound menacing. I smirked. "Nah, man, just giving you a heads up. You still got time to walk away." One of his boys, let's call him Fake Gold Chain, stepped forward. "Or what?" he sneered. "You gonna call the cops, cry about it?" I chuckled. "Nah. See, cops have rules. The people I called, not so much." That's when I heard it. The distant rumble of engines. Now, if you've never been around a serious biker gang, let me explain something. You don't just hear them coming. You feel it. The ground rumbles. The air gets heavier. It's like a thunderstorm rolling in, except instead of rain, it's bringing a whole lot of trouble. Scarface's smirk twitched. His boys looked at each other. They heard it too. "Yo, what the hell?" one of them muttered, the bartender. He straight up backed away. Smart guy. He knew when things were about to hit the fan. Scarface tried to play it cool. "Just some random bikers. Ain't got nothing to do with us." I shrugged. "Guess we'll see." And then, the door swung open. First one through was Kevin Pitbull Johnson, 6'5", built like he bench presses Harleys for fun, and wearing the Black Knights patch on his jacket. If you don't know who the Black Knights are, let me put it this way. If hell had a biker club, these guys would be running it. Behind him, about 10 more of my guys, all walking in like they owned the place. And in a way, they did. The energy in the bar shifted instantly. A second ago, Scarface and his crew were predators. Now, they were prey. Pitbull spotted me, grinned, and clapped me on the shoulder. "Damn, Marcus, didn't know you were making new friends." I smirked. "Yeah, they were just welcoming me. Real friendly bunch." Pitbull looked over at Scarface and the goon squad. His grin disappeared. "That right?" Scarface swallowed. "Look, man, this is a misunderstanding." "No, I think we understand just fine." Pitbull cut him off. "You thought you could mess with my boy here. Now you got two options. Apologize and walk out, or stay and find out what happens when you piss off the wrong people." The room was dead silent. You could practically see the gears turning in Scarface's head. His pride was screaming, "Fight back," but his survival instincts, they were begging him to leave. One of his guys tried to step up. "Man, we don't gotta take this." Pitbull didn't even let him finish. Boom! One punch, one, and the dude hit the ground like a sack of cement. Scarface froze. His whole squad looked like they just saw a ghost. Pitbull cracked his knuckles. "So what's it gonna be?" Scarface hesitated. Then, he made the right choice. "Nah, man," he muttered. "We're good." He motioned to his guys, and one by one they started backing toward the door. No more tough talk. No more cocky grins. Just pure, undiluted fear. And just like that, they were gone. Pitbull sat down, grabbed one of the untouched beers, and took a sip. "Man, I love doing community service." I laughed. "You should put that on a t-shirt." The bartender, now visibly relieved, slid me a fresh beer. "On the house," he muttered. I raised the glass. "To good friends." Pitbull clinked his bottle against mine. "And bad decisions." And just like that, Snake's Den learned a valuable lesson. You mess with the wrong guy, and you might just find out what real fear tastes like. You ever watch a pack of stray dogs trying to act tough until a real wolf walks in? That was Scarface and his crew the second the door swung open. And trust me, my boys, they weren't here to talk. The first one through was Kevin Pitbull Johnson. Big, bald, built like a brick wall with zero interest in negotiating. Behind him, a dozen Black Knights, all looking like they just stepped out of a post-apocalyptic wasteland, ready to burn this place to the ground. The room froze. Bartender stopped breathing. Other bargoers quietly slid their chairs back, pretending they weren't here. Scarface? Well, Scarface did what every guy in his position does. He tried to act like he wasn't about to wet himself. Pitbull took one slow look around the room, eyes landing on Scarface. "You the one causing problems?" Scarface swallowed so hard I thought his Adam's apple was going to jump out and leave the bar on its own. "Nah, man, we were just talking." Pitbull raised an eyebrow. "That right?" Now let's be clear. Pitbull doesn't do just talking. If this man is in the room, someone's either leaving in an ambulance or crawling out the back door praying for a second chance at life. I leaned against the bar, grinning. Yeah, they were just showing me Southern hospitality. Real warm welcome. Pitbull didn't blink. Huh, that's so? Scarface wasn't dumb. He knew this wasn't a fight he could win. But see, the problem with guys like him? They don't know when to shut up. He puffed up his chest. Real, I still got my dignity move. Look, man, we didn't mean nothing. This is just our spot, you know? Ain't got nothing to do with you or your people. Oh, wrong answer. Pitbull's smile disappeared. My people? Scarface blinked, realizing he just said something really, really stupid. Pitbull stepped closer. The guy was so big, he made Scarface look like a high school freshman trying to argue with the football coach. Let me explain something, Pitbull said, voice low and deadly calm. Ain't no your people and my people. There's just people who know their place, and people who need a reminder. Scarface nodded so fast I thought his head was about to fall off. Yeah, man, I get it. No disrespect. No disrespect? Pitbull scoffed. You dumped this man's drink, tried to act tough, and now you're standing here stuttering like a kid who just got caught stealing candy. That's disrespect. Scarface had no clue what to say. His boys? Frozen. Pitbull sighed. All right. Since you boys like games, let's play one. Now here's the thing. You never want to hear Pitbull say those words. Because the last time he said that, some poor idiot ended up running down the highway in nothing but his socks. Pitbull cracked his knuckles. So here's how this works. You and your little crew, you got two options. Scarface didn't move. He was too scared to even breathe. Option 1, Pitbull continued. You get on your knees, apologize, and we forget this ever happened. Silence. Scarface hated that idea. And option 2, he croaked. Pitbull's grin returned. You find out how many teeth you can lose before you pass out. I swear to everything holy. You could hear a pin drop. Scarface's boys? They were already looking at the exit. They didn't sign up for this. They came in thinking they'd bully a random guy, maybe throw a few punches. They didn't expect an army to show up. Scarface clenched his fists, probably weighing his options, but deep down, he already knew he lost. So he did what any guy in his position would do. He dropped to his knees. And his crew? They followed. Pitbull looked down at them like a disappointed teacher. That wasn't so hard, was it? Scarface gritted his teeth. I'm sorry. Pitbull cupped his ear. What was that? Scarface hated this. His pride was practically screaming, but his survival instincts? Way louder. I'm sorry. Pitbull nodded. Better. Then, just as Scarface thought it was over, Pitbull turned to me. What do you think, Marcus? You feel properly apologized to? Now here's where I had a choice. I could say, yeah, we're good, let them scurry out and be done with it. Or I could really make sure they learned their lesson. I took a sip of my new, free beer, wiped my mouth, and grinned. Almost? Pitbull smirked. That's what I thought. Then, without warning, boom! Pitbull's fist connected straight with Scarface's stomach. Scarface let out a sound that can only be described as a dying walrus getting hit by a train. His boys? Too scared to even react. Pitbull dusted off his knuckles. Now we're even. Scarface collapsed, gasping for breath. His crew scrambled to pick him up. Pitbull stretched. Now get out of here before I change my mind. They didn't need to be told twice. They practically sprinted out the door, dragging Scarface with them. The second they were gone, the bar erupted into relieved laughter. The bartender, who had been silent this whole time, slid me another beer. On the house, he muttered. I grinned. Appreciate it. Pitbull sat down next to me, grabbing his own drink. Man, he said, shaking his head. Some people just gotta learn the hard way. I laughed. Guess so. And just like that, Snake's Den was under new management. Scarface and his crew? Gone. Left so fast I half expected to see cartoon smoke trails behind them. The bar? Silent. Nobody wanted to be the first to speak. Even the bartender looked like he was rethinking his life choices. Pitbull took a slow sip of his drink, smirking. So that was fun, I shrugged. Could have been more entertaining. Maybe next time we let them swing first. Pitbull chuckled. Nah, too much paperwork. The bartender, still pale, finally found his voice. So, you guys own this place now, or? I grinned. Nah, man. We're just here for the vibes. Pitbull nodded. And the free drinks. Bartender didn't argue. Smart guy. He just poured another round. probably thanking every higher power that the bar was still in one piece. As we drank, Pitbull glanced toward the door. Think they'll be back? I laughed. Only if they develop a death wish. He raised his glass. To fear being the best teacher. I clinked mine against his. And idiots never learning.